All right, I think I'm live. Welcome, everyone. This is all working properly. Okay. Well, if you are expecting to hear about how to keep your kids healthy this school year, you're in the right place. We just had a fun evening. My daughter just pulled out another one of her teeth. I feel like she's losing teeth like crazy. So it's nice to just sit down, feel like I've been kind of racing, which is pretty usual, I guess. So tonight I'm going to share my best tips and advice on how to keep your family healthy and focused this school year. Basically, what I do with my own family. Okay, as parents, we're all really trying to do our best. So my hope is that I can share some facts and some stories and some advice with you tonight that you can take and use right away to make your job a little easier. Just a note on the webinar logistics. You can type into the chat box that you should be of your screen anytime with questions, and I'll make sure and answer them. I know we're on a slight delay, so I might not see them right away, but and I do need to switch screens to keep kind of coming back and checking that box. But just know that just type in any questions you've got, and I will definitely answer them before we complete tonight. I'll also be offering a free giveaway at the end, so make sure to stick with me. Okay. So a little bit about me. I want to just start out by introducing myself, as some of you may not have worked with me or been on a webinar with me before or seen me at a class. I want to give you a little background on what I'm all about. I'm Angie Jones. I am a holistic health coach in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And I'm a proud mom of now second grade triplets, 2 girls and a boy. You can see them there in that picture. That picture is actually from last year already. It's already been almost a year. I really feel like my kids are my most important job. So if you get my weekly tips or you follow me on social media, you probably have gathered that they really are my world. After my family is where my career comes, and I love being a health coach. I definitely feel like this is my purpose. At healthyangie.com, so that's nice and easy to remember. I work primarily with busy moms who struggle with weight loss, low energy, and finding balance in their busy lives. I help them strike a healthy balance, whatever that looks like for them, and prioritize healthy habits so they improve their lifestyles and gain the confidence and the energy they need to thrive again in their lives. I actually started out my career out of college in marketing, where I worked for 11 years before I went through my own journey to health. I really struggled to become a mom, and I thought I was doing all the right things when it came to lifestyle habits and eating. And what I've discovered and learned along the way is I was doing a lot wrong. The exhausting journey to become a mom, I knew that my purpose was to tell my story and help other women figure out what healthy really can be and what that really feels like. I went back to school at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition for my health coaching certificate, and then I followed that up with about a year-long program in transformational coaching and got certified there. And in that time, also launched my coaching practice. So it's been a few years now. So while I start with food with my clients, I also focus on emotions and stress and self-confidence, and I incorporate natural solutions and essential oils where applicable. So now I say I work with women, but clearly a passion for me is kids. My thought is when you get mom and dad making healthy choices, the whole family will improve. And that's why I'm doing this webinar. Our kids need that healthy foundation so they don't spend the school year sick and exhausted or unable to concentrate in class. We're all, like I said, just moms doing our best to make sure our kids thrive, and I want to share my tips just from one mom to another. Feel free to ask questions. Like I said, I'll try to pop back in between screens and make sure I get to them. Otherwise, know that I'll get to them at the end. All right, so let's dive in. I love to show these smiling faces of my kids as though we're always smiling at my house, which we're not. It's not always, oh, fun, smiles and drinking smoothies. We are a normal family too, but I like to put smiling pictures up. So this is what I'm going to cover tonight. I'm going to start with food. It's a biggie, how you're nourishing yourself and your family. Then I'm going to talk about water, relaxation, mood and concentration, and lots of tips for that. We'll touch on the immune system and immune support, as well as supplementation and vitamins. I'll give a lot of tips and tricks along the way. So this should be interesting. You should not, feel like it's dry and boring. I really want to make sure that you are going to leave with some ideas that you can use tomorrow. Okay, nourishing food. Diet is key for focus and health and moods. So I'm going to spend a chunk of time here. It's so important to limit sugar and processed foods if we want our kids to really thrive and grow and develop. But I get it. It's not always that easy, right? I do get it. Our kids are being inundated with the sugary snack foods literally everywhere we go. I know for us, it's at church, it's at school, there's after soccer practice and the birthday parties. It can be really overwhelming to try to, kind of control this. So here's what I do. I have, my 90-10 kind of philosophy. Even an 80-20 is fine. That's awesome too. I'm sure there are some weeks when my kids' diets are more of an 80-20 than a 90-10. But the way I see it is, 80 to 90% of the time, my kids are eating really healthy, nourishing whole foods. And then the other 10 to 20%, well, that's treats and that's okay. And that's why I don't stress out about the birthday parties. I know they're eating really well at home for lunch as I'm packing the lunches. So I'm not so worried about all those treats. So what do I focus on? I focus on clean proteins, healthy fats, fruits, vegetables. By clean protein, I'm saying, getting rid of the antibiotics and the growth hormones. So I'm looking for organic chicken and turkey and grass-fed meat and wild-caught fish. Of course, beans and lentils and things fit in there too. Lots and lots of vegetables and fruits. Nuts, avocado. My kids love avocado toast and guacamole. Some good wild-caught salmon, like I said, olive oil, coconut oil, and raw nuts and seeds. All really good sources of healthy fats. Whole grains, so I do oats and quinoa and brown rice. I also do 100% whole grain and sprouted grain and things like that with my kids. Organic dairy and eggs. But, I do still shop at Costco. So you really don't need to break the bank to eat well. You just find the best quality that fits. It's, sometimes a little tougher. Some high quality food does just cost more. But that's where you make swaps to keep costs down. Do some beans and some lentils sometimes so you can afford the organic meats. Put more of your budget to that. And when I'm at Costco, I just shop the fresh and organic foods, and there's more and more of that, which is great. You might think of those, big economy size boxes of cereal, but there are a ton of great options for my family of 5 too. I get the organic chicken and wild-caught fish, tons of fruits and veggies, both fresh and frozen. Organic cheese and eggs. They have chia seeds, flax seeds, raw nuts, tons of great options. So if you just steer clear of the packaged junk, you're good to go. If you want to read a little bit more about my lists and how I save money, you can find blog posts on my website, which is, again, healthyangie.com, where I list out my favorites at Costco. I have a blog on Trader Joe's and also one on Target, so where I find ways to save money. Now, there are some individual differences when it comes to ideal foods. So, saying dairy and eggs and whole grains and whole wheat, even when we're talking whole foods, there are individual differences. Some people just do better off of gluten and dairy. And that goes for our kids too. It's possible that food intolerances could be causing sleepiness, irritability, moodiness, low energy, and inability to concentrate or focus. For those of you who aren't familiar with my coaching, I do lead people through seasonal clean eating cleanses. And the real purpose of these is to figure out which foods support their unique bodies. So while my program is meant for adults, it's really just clean eating and doing a 7-day elimination diet to look for potential issues that are causing low energy and make it extremely difficult to lose weight and things like that. You can introduce this to your kids as well. So try taking eggs or dairy out for a week and then introduce it back and find. And I can definitely help you through that process too. So reach out for support. But if you suspect that a food intolerance might be playing a part, just test it out and see. So all real food all the time, that sounds well and good, but how do you do this in a really busy life? I really do get it. Time is a big issue. Believe me, I'm a business, a mom of triplets who are going in 3 directions. I get it. You really need to plan. There is just no way around it. Evenings are crazy with the schedule. So if I don't have a plan, then it would be really easy to end up in a drive-through or with a frozen pizza. Thing that really just doesn't support my kids, doesn't support, the needs that they have for nourishment. But when you have a plan and when you have your kitchen stocked with staples that make it easy to throw together a quick meal, you'll find it's actually not that hard. It's just habit change. Commit to real food and you can absolutely do it. It's just habit change. So start cooking more than you need at one meal. Cook once, eat multiple times is what we call it. Always cook more than you need. Keep your pantry and your freezer stocked with healthy meals and go-tos. So when your, well-set plans go out the window, like, you plan to make soup for dinner and then there's a snowstorm and it takes you 2 extra hours to get home, then you're set up with a backup plan. So you've got something else you can pull out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everyone who signed up for this webinar, so all of you guys, I'm just going to send you a free ebook that I wrote that has lots of tips and lists to make sure you can get a healthy meal on the table quickly. It has everything from the food you keep stocked to essential kitchen tools that you'll need, quick meal ideas, all kinds of good stuff. So look for that in your inbox, and hopefully that will really help you too. And you can send me some feedback on that and let me know. Okay, when you do buy processed foods, and I do buy a little bit of processed foods, there are a couple cereals that I'll buy. I buy Larabars occasionally, some things like that. But these are the ingredients I absolutely avoid. So make sure you're not only reading facts on things you're buying, but you're also looking closely at the ingredients. First one, any hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oil. So these are the trans fats, the really dangerous fats. So while a lot of food manufacturers, restaurants, they're getting rid of these, they can still be hidden in products. The nutrition label can say 0 grams of trans fat per serving and still have hydrogenated oils. As long as there's less than 0.5 grams per serving, they can still call it 0. So it's misleading and ridiculous. But that's the way it is. So just make sure you're watching for that and make sure you're reading those labels. These are definitely not fats we want our kids to have any amount of. They're really damaging. Artificial flavors or colors of any kind is my next one. Manufacturers are also getting a lot better about this. I know, General Mills and I think Kraft, some other companies, pledging to remove these from their products, which is awesome. Even I saw this summer Hershey's is going to be removing the artificial flavors from the classic chocolate bars, which is so great. If you're going to eat a sugary treat, you should at least be able to avoid all of the artificial flavors. So why am I so big on this one? There are so many studies that clearly show that these dyes and the flavors affect brain chemistry. They're causing inflammation in their body, and that's not what I want in my kids. I don't want, these things to be affecting my kids' brains when I need them to be, calm and concentrating and working as well as possible. Soy protein is another one that I watch for. I'm personally just not a proponent of processed soy. I've looked at the research again, and I just don't like it. I think the potential harm really outweighs any good. So I avoid soy milk, as well as things like Think Thin bars and other bars that use soy protein to up the protein content because it's cheap and it's easy, but it's highly processed and there's just too many damaging side effects for me. So I skip that one. Corn syrup, it's a top genetically modified food, which again, through my research, I don't want in my kids' growing bodies. So I definitely skip that. Soybean and canola oil, I skip those for the same reason, because they're highly genetically modified and just too processed. They're just not healthy fats. Sometimes, on organic tortilla chips and things like that, they'll use some oils I'm not really excited about. So I'd let those slip if it's a vacation situation or something like that, but really, really try to limit those. And then there's sugar. So sugar is the biggest one. Sugar in all the various names for sugar. My rules. If it's one of the top 3 ingredients on the ingredients list, I consider it a dessert. I don't care if it's organic or whatever, it's a dessert in my mind. If there are multiple forms of sugar, then I'm looking for an alternative. So sometimes you can see cane sugar, and then a couple ingredients down, you'll see agave, and then you'll see molasses, and then evaporated cane juice. And they're all just different names for sugar. There's a whole lot of sugar going on that you would not use that in your kitchen, right? So when it comes to sugar, 4 grams on a nutrition label is a teaspoon. And from what I've seen recommended, kids should not be eating any more than 4 to 8 teaspoons of added sugar per day. And this is going to vary depending on the age of your kids. They're eating fewer calories, so they have kind of less wiggle room because they need to use, those few calories to really get their nutritional needs met. But, to put this in perspective, I want, think about a granola bar. So let's not even talk about the sugary cereals, the sports drinks, the sodas, the things we know are, overloaded with sugar. But there's one that I picked up. It was a Nature's Organic Honey Oat Crunch granola bar. So something that looks, it's organic, it looks pretty healthy. It had 9 grams of sugar. So that's over 2 teaspoons right there. So a child has something like that and they're practically done for the day. Not to mention the ketchup that they have and all the other, hidden sugars. And that's an organic, seemingly really healthy bar, right? You can't count on labels, again, like organic to cover you. I mean, think about the sugar-sweetened yogurts. You can be hitting the max or going over the max in 1 little cup of yogurt. I want you to think about that because sugar messes with your body's chemistry, especially with the little ones. I teach whole classes just on the effects of sugar. It affects your brain, drains your energy, disrupts your hormonal systems, impacts your immune system. All the things we want to keep intact for our kids are directly damaged by eating sugar. So I don't want to freak you out here. I really don't. I'll give you some recommendations on alternatives. And again, just think about working towards that 90-10 or that 80-20. Don't worry so much about the cake at the birthday party as long as you're not stocking any sugary treats at home when they're, not getting that at home. A lot of sugar really just fall into that artificial ingredient category when we think about all the sugar substitutes. So those are really even worse. You want to stay away from all of those. Stay away from all of those diet and low-calorie drinks that really just have artificial flavors and artificial sweeteners. Instead, to sweeten, go for raw honey that has a lot of great enzymes. You can use maple syrup, again, coming with a lot of vitamins and minerals. Coconut sugar is a lower glycemic sweetener. You don't want to overdo any of these, still sugar. They might be a healthier form of sugar, but they're still sugar. So don't, be fooled by that. Another great one is just real organic 100% stevia. That's a good option. Make sure you're getting 100% stevia and not stevia with sugar alcohols and other things. But stevia is a good one too. Okay, so I'm just going to really quick hop over and make sure there's no questions. All right, looks good. Okay, so eating real food. I do want to leave you with ideas for some meals and snacks that are really kid-friendly. Few favorites for my kids that are really quick and easy go-tos for breakfast. Breakfast, I try to make sure my kids have a good balanced meal before school. I worry about this much more during the school year than during the summer when they can kind of snack as they need to. But during this, need protein and fiber to stick with them so they can sit in those little seats and concentrate for hours. Good breakfast also helps with the later in the day blood sugar. So keep in mind that, for yourself too, if you struggle with late afternoon sugar cravings or that crash in the afternoon, that could be directly tied to what you're doing in the morning. So are you getting enough protein in the morning and some fiber and something to sustain your blood sugar throughout the day? So that breakfast is really important. One is oatmeal, not the pre-sweetened packets, but just buy whole oats. You can even make those in the microwave if you need to. And then top those with just a little bit of maple syrup, maybe some raisins. You can add some nuts if your kids like walnuts or something like that. I even have clients who have mixed in a little protein powder into their oatmeal to really up the protein even more. If you need recommendations on a high quality protein powder, just let me know. I get mine on Amazon. I can let you know what that is and let you know a couple good brands. There's a lot of junk out there, so you want to make sure you're avoiding the junk. You can even make big batches of oatmeal, just reheat it in the morning if you don't have time to. You could also make granola bars if you're on the go. If you're a family that ends up eating breakfast in the car, which I get it, that totally happens. I have a couple great recipes on my website. That's healthyangie.com again. So one is made with sunflower seeds. It's nut-free, which is great for school. One with pumpkin is on there. I also have some apple oat bars. Lots of different options to make up, big batches ahead of time. So pair that with a fruit like an apple or banana, something portable, and your kids are good to go for breakfast. We also do a lot of eggs at my house. You can make up hard-boiled eggs ahead of time, of course, if your kids like those. But really, it takes 2 minutes to make scrambled eggs or a fried egg. I mean, eggs are so quick, which is why I love them so much. You can make a quick omelet with veggies, or you can even do an egg bake in the evening or on the end and just reheat it for a couple days, and have your breakfast that way. My kids are big carb kids, kind of the, they like the breads and the things like that. So even me, I'm a health coach. I'm trying to point them towards things, but they do love that kind of stuff. And so I get the sprouted grain English muffins, like Ezekiel or something like that, because they love English muffins. And with the sprouted grain products, you're getting a lot more live enzymes and a lot more whole nutrition than you're getting from the typical flour-based products. So more protein and more fiber typically, but also just more nutrients. So I really love the sprouted products. Yogurt is a fine choice, again, for kids who do well on dairy. You can make a bowl with, just the real whole yogurt and add a little bit of honey or something, add some fruit if you need to sweeten it. Maybe some homemade granola or something. I also have a couple great recipes for granola on my website because I know so many of the varieties you can buy in the store are just full of many types of sugar. It's really easy to make too. It's really fun. Get the kids involved. Smoothies are my personal go-to for the morning. Sometimes my kids like those for breakfast, but they usually do more smoothies for lunches or snacks. So what I put in are something like almond milk or coconut milk, and then I always add leafy greens, and then berries, a banana, really whatever fruit you like. I've done apples, things like that. And then some protein. So either, a high quality protein powder if your kids are okay with that. I use a lot of nut butters, so either sunflower butter, almond butter, peanut butter, something like that. And then you can put in half a or some chia seeds or flax seeds for some extra good fats. And then I often add a medjool date, which naturally sweetens the smoothie for my kids. So they like it a little bit better when it's a little sweeter. You can also use that good organic stevia. That's also a great option. If your kids are, don't like the color with the greens and everything in there, just use blueberries and it masks everything. So that's kind of my tip there. I also do some healthy versions of pancakes and waffles and muffins, and I make these in big batches and store them in the freezer. My kids still get yummy foods, but they're just made with whole grains and high quality ingredients and no preservatives. There's lots of recipes for these on my website. I mean, you can't be a kid and not eat pancakes, right? So we can just make them healthier because you don't want your kids going to school with a belly full of white flour pancakes, which is just turning into sugar in their body. That's how refined flours are broken down, just like sugar. So they're going to get the spike and then they're going to be starving and tired in a very short time, which we do not want for them. Snacks. This is a big place where people struggle just because it's for kids. That you can buy in the store are basically just blood sugar disasters, honestly. You think about crackers and other things made with refined white flours, and they're just not doing them any favors. They're not going to stick with them. Think beyond that snack aisle. Some things I do, the homemade trail mix. So I just keep containers of nuts and seeds and, some whole grain oat or rice cereals that have very little sugar, the ones with like 3 ingredients. Raisins, dried mango, coconut, dry roasted edamame. You can sprinkle a little sea salt to bring the sweetness out, maybe add a few dark chocolate chips, something like that. The kids make their own mix. It's lots of fun. So you can make a different one every day. Fresh fruit, of course, you can't go wrong. I mean, basically, I'll buy any fruit or vegetable my kids want me to buy. Within reason. I mean, I don't do a lot of organic strawberries in December because they're too expensive, but I try to buy a little bit more seasonally, but if they want something and they will eat it, they can have. That's where I kind of, let them have all the sweet treats, let them have the bananas and things like that. They're coming with fiber and vitamins and minerals, and that's a good place to get that sweetness. You can pair fruit with some protein, some cheese sticks or hard-boiled eggs, nuts and seeds, some peanut butter, almond butter, something like that. Sunflower seed butter if you can't do nuts, something like that. Hummus and veggies or even tortilla chips. Again, you can, make tortilla chips yourself, which is, cutting whole grain tortillas or pitas. Half of a sandwich. So we've done that. We've definitely sent that to school. 100% whole grain or sprouted grain bread and peanut butter, naturally sweetened jelly, something that will really tide them over. I know sometimes lunch times for kids are not ideal. I know my kids this year are not eating lunch until 1 o'clock, which is really late when they're going into school so early. So I want to make sure that that morning snack that they're able to eat is going to stick with them. Because I know they have, I think it's math before recess. So, recess and then lunch, and I don't want them starving and not concentrating during that important math time. So I send a good snack. Yogurt, cheese sticks, things like that. Just watch the sugars in yogurt again. You can do the homemade items that you can make ahead of time, homemade Lara bars, the granola bars, muffins, things like that. After school, I'll do things like toast or peanut butter oats, sometimes even a little bit of oatmeal. In the winter, especially a cup of leftover soup or popcorn that I make on the stove. Or like yesterday, it was a really hot day, so we did some banana ice cream. So we have a little bit more flexibility when we're at home at snack times. But lunch is another important time to get our kids good nutrition so they can make it through the rest of the day. I mean, I know going into the lunchroom and what I see the little ones eating, I mean, taking a couple bites of pizza or, a sandwich with white bread, I just don't know how they're making it through the afternoon. They're little tummies are probably just rumbling and it's so hard to concentrate. When they have a bunch of sugar at lunch or the refined carbohydrates from crackers or breads that act just like sugar, they're going to crash in the afternoon. You get that sugar highs, and then they might have a hard time sitting still and concentrating, and then they're going to crash and get really tired. So think whole grains, protein, fruits and vegetables. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm packing lunches. And honestly, it's not the time where I'm packing stuff I hope they're going to eat, right? I'm going to pack stuff I know they're going to eat. My son doesn't like blueberries. I'm not going to give him blueberries in the hopes he'll eat them. I'm going to give him strawberries instead. I'll give my girls blueberries. I don't pack junk, so we don't do dessert. They also drink water. If you're totally fine, just encourage your kids to choose the white milk. I know this past summer, I saw a chocolate milk and actually read the ingredients, and it was really shocking. It's actually a lot worse than you think. So you probably expect there to be a lot of sugar, which there is. But there was also things like corn syrup and cornstarch and I can't even remember, like some artificials, just much worse than I thought it was. So just be aware of that's not something you want your kids to choose, and can't always control it, but to the best of our ability, of course. The next big area that I want to transition to is water. It's really, key to staying alert and focused and healthy. Water is hugely important for all of us. Our kids need hydration for their immune systems and for their energy, just like we do. We need to flush out the toxins. We need enough water to keep our digestive systems working well, so we're feeling good. A lot around dehydrated, so we're really low energy, or we think we're hungry when we're actually just thirsty. Make sure your kids always have water bottles with them at school and at their activities, and get them used to water or other fruit drinks or sodas or something like that. So what we do is we just let the kids pick out a fun water bottle that they love, that they're excited about. My girls actually just got new stainless steel water bottles again. So don't know that they needed new ones, but they got new ones again just because it makes water fun, keeps it exciting. They'll drink it. It works great for us. I often infuse my water with the certified pure or therapeutic grade essential oils. I like those for flavor and some of the detox support. Oils like grapefruit and lemon and lime and orange. Or you can let your kids pick out some fruit they want to throw in their water bottle. Maybe something, make it fun. Maybe it's an orange slice or some raspberries or something like that. But just make it a little bit more fun than just plain old water. Sleep and relaxation. This is the next big topic I want to cover. As parents, I know we've all dealt with the tantrums, right? With the kids who didn't get enough sleep, even when you think they've outgrown tantrums and they're still having them. We just had kind of a rough evening on Sunday because the kids just had a really fun weekend and they were kind of done, you know? And that's fine on a weekend, but think about your child in school like that. If they just hit that so tired that they're just done. There's no way they can learn if they're not well rested. So even setting the consistent bedtimes and wake times and stick to them. So even really on the weekends, we stick fairly close, or at least try to. You want to set your child's body clock just like we want to set our own, right? And ensure that they get the rest they need. Establish a bedtime routine that really helps them wind down and get ready for bed. So we do the baths, showers, stories. We don't allow iPads or their little knobbies or anything like that, except on the weekend. School nights, they can't use those. Kind of makes it a treat for the weekend. And if your kids don't fall asleep right away, I know one of my daughters can be up for quite a while. She's allowed to read a book in her room. She's allowed to look at pictures quietly, whatever works for your family. But just, establish some routines like that and some rules around that to really keep making sure that they're getting adequate sleep, because that's going to be huge for their mood, their ability to learn and concentrate, their immune system. Everything is tied back to sleep. Essential oils are really beneficial for the child that has a difficult time winding down. Many oils are really relaxation, and they've been awesome for us. You can massage some lavender or the Serenity Calming Blend, Roman Chamomile, vetiver, even blending a few different oils on the bottoms of their feet. You can rub some on their spine or the back of their neck. Get that kind of that soothing kind of benefit that promotes relaxation. You can diffuse the scent that they love in their rooms. You can add a couple drops to their bath. I know my girls love one blend that they ask for all the time. It really, really does help. Really powerful little oils. There are also oils that are really helpful to elevate your mood or to calm your emotions, which is really good to support kids who have difficulty paying attention and staying on task, or the ones that are really need support with anxious feelings. I'm a huge user and proponent of essential oils just because of how they've supported my wellness as well as my kids. Setting up time for your child to have downtime, either relaxing or maybe they're playing outside to burn off energy, that's essential to well-being too. Just like we go and try to work in our exercise. Well, for kids, that's play. That's playtime. So to work in time for them to be able to do that is going to be huge for their mood and for their ability to concentrate. Overschedule problem. I know we're, guilty of that too. And we really try to keep a handle on it just so that, our kids have some time in the day to just chill out after school or to, go outside and play and just be kids. So we try to limit some of those, structured activities so they have just a little bit of that time too. All right, so next I want to just talk a little bit about building up the immune system. So we talked about proper nutrition and hydration with water, rest are all essential for keeping our immune system strong. So here's just a couple additional tips to keep your kids from missing those days of school and you from having to miss work and scramble and do all of those things we do. Get in the habit of washing hands when your kids get home from school or outside playing before meals and snacks. It's just a habit thing. They'll get used to it and they'll remember when they walk in the door, they go wash their hands. Because I always think, you don't know what little kids have been digging in and, what they're playing with outside. If you're a hand sanitizer user, just be wary of the brand you're choosing and the ingredients. A lot of the mainstream brands are actually worse for you because of the chemicals they contain. They can actually be stripping more than you want off of your skin. And they can be just really way too high in alcohol, between 60 and 90% alcohol, some of them, which is, enough to cause alcohol poisoning if it's ingested. There was a CNN Health story that showed a 2-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer that contained as much alcohol as 4 shots of vodka. So just scary, just choose wisely when it comes to hand sanitizers. They're great because they're portable and they're easy when you don't have access to water, but just choose carefully. The immunity blend of essential oils is an effective alternative to the synthetic options for immune support. It actually supports the body's natural antioxidant defenses. The immunity blend is out all the time during the school year at my house. It was the first thing that came out, last week as we're preparing for the first day of school. We diffuse it, so we all get the benefits. I like to diffuse it in the morning. I also put it on the bottoms of everyone's feet before bed. So if you're wondering why, I use the bottoms of the feet, it's because your feet have the largest pores anywhere in your body. So essential oils are quickly and easily taken into your bloodstream when you do that. It's also the least sensitive skin, which is great, especially for our little ones and for kids that might have more sensitive skin. It's also a great option if there's an oil that you just really don't like the smell of. So that definitely comes up with my kids a lot. Sometimes when I break out, the Melaleuca or the oregano or something for them, if you put it on the bottoms of their feet, then you just put socks on and you don't have to smell it. So that's kind of my trick with my kids, so they can have these beneficial oils without complaining about the smell. The Immunity Blend is just amazing to protect against all the environmental threats. My family has seen huge success by using it. This is one of the top tips that I like to share and include this in this presentation just because it really does make a difference. It's made a huge difference. And I know, we seem to get sick on the day that you really need to go to work, right? It's always the day of the big meeting or the day that you had this appointment scheduled that you really don't want to have to try to figure out how to cancel or how to reschedule. So we can do all these, preventative things, and this is just a big one to add in. Okay, the last thing I want to touch on tonight is supplements, vitamins, minerals, other supplements. There's a huge connection between gut health and brain health. Of course, our immune systems need the proper vitamins and minerals too, but so do our brains, and we want our kids to have everything they need. We need those omega-3 fatty acids. We need the healthy balance of bacteria in our guts. That's where, the probiotics come in, but we need those healthy bacteria for our brains to be working optimally. My kids take vitamin, fish oil, and a high quality probiotic every day. Even though we try to eat really well and our food quality is just not what it once was. And we're dealing with so many environmental threats in our modern lives that, I just feel comfortable giving my kids that extra support, and especially adding in the probiotic, I think is really essential to keep them healthy and keep their systems working properly. You can check with your healthcare provider what's recommended for your kids. See what you're comfortable with, but this is just what's what feels good for my family. So that's where I'm going to wrap up for tonight. So I really hope this information was helpful. I hope you learned a couple things, maybe got some ideas for some different snacks and different healthy ways to reduce sugar and other things that you can use to really boost those immune systems in those little kids that seem to pick up everything. So again, you're going to get this. You can listen again. You can share it with others you love. I also want to invite you to a free coaching conversation with me. If you are struggling feeding your family well, or you're just, wondering what to buy, struggling with what to choose, or you feel like you're so strapped for time that when I said I was packing lunches, you were laughing and thinking, never going to happen. I can help you with that. It can happen, I promise. Or if you feel like your family could benefit from using essential oils and you want to hear more about how they work, reach out for this free 30-minute session. I will help you identify your goals and come up with a solution. You can reach out to me at my email address, which is there, Angie@ajhealthyfamilies.com. Or you can reply to the email I send. So I told you I was going to send out my free ebook, which I will do. And you can just simply reply to that email and let me know that you would be interested in this 30-minute conversation. Remember to look for that in your inbox. And a special bonus, if you're one of the first 5 to reach out to me for this 30-minute call, I'll also send you a sample of one of my favorite essential oils, so you can kind of guess what that's going to be. But I definitely love to share that with the first 5 that reach out. So it was wonderful being with you guys tonight and sharing a bit. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. I think tonight was, I think I heard presidential debates or something like that. So thank you so much for tuning in and spending time prioritizing your and your family's health. I'm going to stick on for just a couple minutes and see if there are any questions, because like I said, there is a slight delay here, and I just want to make sure that I capture any. So I'll stay on for a minute to answer anything you have. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I can answer questions then. Thanks again so much for joining me. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'll just give it one more minute, and then I'll see you soon, and have a wonderful night. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions coming through, so I am going to stop the recording. Thanks again so much. Goodbye, everyone.